Hi everyone, welcome to our Facebook Live today. My name is Alyssa and I'm the marketing manager here at Katoomba. And today I'm so pleased to be back with Diana, who was the previous owner of Red's Hairdressing and also a Katoomba customer, and is now working on her new business, Propel Coaching and Training. Welcome back, Diana.
Oh, thank you, Alyssa, for having me. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, no, it's really, really nice to be chatting again. And I'm actually really excited about the session. I was just saying to Diana, we were talking a few weeks ago, and she was saying kind of from her personal experience in the past as salon owner, but also just from recent kind of conversations and things like that and working with people, she's realized that, one-on-one meetings and holding really effective ones and seeing the benefits of those is something that people really struggle with. And so she's created a really awesome kind of template and a bit of a process about how to make them really effective. And I just thought, what an awesome topic that we could cover today to really, really help people out with this. Because it can be really hard. And so I think it'd be awesome to, chat away about that. So, today we're going to talk about kind of why they're important, the benefits, and then Diana's going to take you through, really her kind of, I guess, recommended process and kind of how you can start to tackle your one-on-one meetings with your team and make them as effective as possible. And so while we're chatting, if you guys do have any questions for Diana, please put them in the comments below, and then I can ask her those for you and get some answers and get some extra help. So I guess Diana, to kick off, if you want to get started and really tell us why you think that having these one-on-one meetings with your team is so important.
I thought I might start off with what a one-on-one is first, actually. I thought
right back to
I know
right back.
Simon Sinek says start with why, and we will in a moment, but I thought, well, what is a one-on-one? A one-on-one is a short meeting with a positive focus. And they generally are held regularly. So what are they not? They're not performance meetings. And I think that's a big mistake. I've made that mistake, and they've got to be positive focused. They are for every team member. They're not just for, it's obviously for newbies that come on board, they need more help, and executive stylists can just about do it by themselves. So I think, number one, what are they? They're a meeting. And I heard someone say they call them a catch-up, which I love that. It's a lot less sort of like, oh my God, I've got a meeting, I've got to go into Diana's office and what's she going to say? I wanted my team to enjoy them, look forward to them. This is about you. This is your time. So I suppose I thought about it too. How do you tell the difference between what is a one-on-one and what is a performance meeting? And I thought if your one-on-one meetings turn into problems, drama, and lots of detail, you've probably got a performance meeting on your hands, and it's a really good idea to park it, back off. Let's reschedule that. I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm hearing your voice, but this is not what we're about today. So I thought that's just a little clue, that if it's lots of problems, lots of drama, and lots of detail, then it's probably going to be a performance issue. So I thought and I thought too, because someone told me that they do it on their newbies or their emerging stylists, but they never have them with their executive stylists, or that they have lots of one-on-one meetings with the problem child. It's the 80-20 rule. You tend to spend 80% of your time with the people that are the least productive, when it kind of should be flipped. It should be that you should be spending 80% of your time on your wonderful stylists, and maybe the problem child shouldn't actually be in your business at all. And that's the thought. Yeah.
And I think, interesting.
Yeah. And I thought also too, what was I thinking? It was when you, I sort of put, like, it depends where you are in the super stylist journey, and that's your goal. You need to get your people to be super stylists. That's the success of your business. And once people are super stylists, then habitual behaviours take over. So they become this, and it's tied up with their identity. So they can't not be super stylists anymore. They can't. Generally, they don't go backwards. Generally, once you've got those habits embedded, and you are a super stylist, then your job is kind of done. But you need to check in with those people. You need to check in with those and just tell them that they're wonderful. Just even if it's
Yeah.
just a hey, how are you going? Because you do tend to kind of leave them on their own a bit. You think, oh well, they sorted. But I think it's important that you tell them that because sometimes they don't know. So I thought that was my first one. And then start with why. Thank you, Simon. You know, Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
I hope everyone's aware of that. But anyway, well, I think that I read once, if you can get your whole team rowing in the same direction at the same time, then there's nothing that you can't achieve. And that wasn't about, say, hair salons, that was about every business.
Yeah.
So if you've got the right people on your boat all rowing at the right time, then you're pretty much sorted. And that's the whole point of it, really. And I think the emphasis there needs to be on the right people. You need the right people on your team. And sometimes if you've got the wrong people on your team and you're spending too much time with them, maybe you need to think about letting them get off the boat or the bus. Maybe it's just not their time with you. So that's and I also thought with the why as well, I think what's in it for your stylist? What's in it for your team member? And so I thought it's a purpose. It's got to be happy. They've got to be happy stylists because otherwise they don't perform that well. It gives them a plan. It gives them a roadmap of where they want to go. It's solution focused. It increases the trust on your team. They can trust that you've actually got their best interests at heart, and trust is at the basis of any good team. I think it's you're giving them time, you're giving them love, you're giving them care, and they're feeling supported. Same as your kids, really.
Yeah.
So, and you're showing them that they're important, that they're not just money makers for you. So I think that's probably what's in it for them.
Yeah.
And then my next thing was, why don't we have them? Why don't we all, I mean, if they're so good, why don't we have them? And I can put my hand up and say there's been times when I just haven't been able to fit them. There's just been too much stuff going on and they get bumped. And so I've asked around and I've sort of looked into my own soul. And I think that some of the challenges are that there's no time. Either you're running late with a client, or the stylist is running late and you have to squeeze them in. So I also think too that I said 15 minutes, but I think 15 to 30 minutes is good. And maybe it's weekly or maybe it's fortnightly, but I would try it, suck it and see what works. But I would really recommend that they don't go any longer than 30 minutes. That's just, you're labouring the point. So mine used to be around about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'd build in a little gap just to write some notes out in between, and for me to reset too. And you don't have to have them all on the same day. It doesn't, just where they can fit in. But I would definitely book them in. Make sure that they don't get bumped.
And I guess if they go over that kind of 15 to 20 minute, allotted kind of time, that's probably more when you're getting more into that. It's training, or it's more of a larger performance kind of meeting where it needs to be longer, or it's a review, or that's not the purpose of this meeting.
Yeah, and I'm not saying don't have reviews. I think that's great, and I think you do need to have performance meetings as well. They've all got their place, but it's not really this is not the one-on-one. Yeah. Someone said they never saw any value in them, that nothing ever changed, and I think change does take time. And tracking results is really important, so you do know you can see a change. It's like going to the gym once and going, well, that's done, thank God. That's over and done with. You don't get any changes. Yeah. Here are my abs. I've been today. It took me an hour. Hey. So if you're not tracking the results, how do you celebrate the wins? That's you can't manage what you can't measure. And another big one is I don't actually know how to hold them. We sit in there and it's kind of awkward because I don't really know what to say and they don't really know what to say, or I talk over the top of them, or I can't zip it. Just again, the 80-20 rule. They should really be doing 80% of the talking and you should be doing 20%. And if that's not happening, then you're talking too much. They feel negative. That's another feedback I got, that they always focus on what they're not doing. And if people don't feel that they're in a safe environment, then they won't open up. That's for sure. So they need to feel safe. They feel that they're demotivated. And that's, again, back to that, they feel demotivated, that they're being picked on. So one of that's and then we talked about it before, that the staff didn't need them. They're already high achievers, so why would you need to?
Yeah.
But I think that, creating rapport and safety is really paramount to it, and going back to what what it is. But that's the challenges that I've found, and honestly, if anyone else has got any, that would be great to hear as well.
Yeah.
So,
you obviously see so much value in them from your own experience. So I guess it's just really about, which is what we're going to talk today about, is about that process that you can kind of put in place, or I guess the elements of a really great one-on-one that can help them be successful and I guess combat all of those problems that people are running into.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think me being a coach has really helped me with my process. I mean, I had all of those things. I didn't really know what to say. I didn't know really what to do, or I'd talk all the way through them, and they'd walk out going, what was that about? Yeah. So my coaching process has been really good for that. So just to quick go over the ground rules: meet with every stylist. Don't just meet with the otherwise you'll kind of think, well, I'm only meeting with the problem ones. Or I'm just meeting with my favourite ones, or whatever. Meet with everyone. And also, if you've got a salon coordinator, or probably not your tea and tidy, it's probably okay not to worry about that one, but just check in sometimes with that one. Yeah, choosing a location that will minimise you getting disturbed. If you've got a cafe or something, I know some people that have them in cafes. That would seem like a lot of coffee for me, but that's okay. So don't allow distractions. Don't allow them to bring their phone in, and you don't have a phone as well. It's their time. Again, I said before, just the meeting should never exceed 30 minutes. It's just too long. And just make sure that you block out the time and you book it in just as you would a client, because as a leader or a manager, your number one job is to look after your people before your clients. It's your number one job to look after those people, because you have to look after your people and they will look after your clients. If you're always putting your clients before your people, that's telling them that they're not worth it. So that's important. Okay. So that's just a little bit of prep work. So I'll just go through the format and just say that I've actually got this on a template, and I'm happy to share it with whoever wants it if you want to. Yeah.
We'll grab your contact details at the end so that anyone that wants it can get in touch with you.
Yep, just PM me and I'll send it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
So number one is the setup. So again, we said, just go to a place that's I actually had them at my house sometimes. I live on the beach, and our salon was like 4 minutes up the road, so they came down to me and sat in the sun. It was great. Those ones lasted a little bit longer, but anyway.
Yeah. But then also definitely no distractions, right? Because you haven't got someone saying, oh, this client's calling you, or like someone coming into the back room or anything like that. You really can't be distracted.
I need a colour taken off. Yeah. Someone's standing at the front desk. Absolutely. We got that. Totally. So we did do that sometimes because we got no cafe anywhere around us. Nothing close. We also have a little caravan out the back too at Red's, and we had them in there for a while, but I think someone saw a spider, so we had to stop that. So just, and like I do with my coachees, and when I'm doing coaching, I always send them out a focus sheet first. So we've got a starting point, we've got an outcome. What are your wins? What are your what do you want to discuss today? What's top of your head? What do you want to have a look and for you as a leader, you need to have their numbers, you need to have their KPIs, you need to have something in front of you just to check in with. So I do give my guys a prep sheet. It's probably about 3 questions. It's not very long. Then looking at the salon performance, so briefly discuss each performance indicator and how that team member's tracking. This really helps if you don't set the target by yourself. So set it with your stylist and align it with the goals that they want to achieve. I mean, it seems to be at the moment that a lot of my stylists wanted to work a 4-day week, or they wanted to have every second Saturday off, and that's great. How do we make this happen?
Yeah.
So that's aligned with their personal goals. Just get a status update to how they feel that they're tracking too, rather than before you jump in and go, well, you've done this and you've done this and you've done this. Just the facts are there, and how do you feel about that? So that's number one. Then the next one is observation. Just share any issues or feelings that you think are important. Let your people know how they're performing, like both in terms of their own performance data and what you have observed. Let them know that you're sincere and wanting the best outcomes for them. Often we don't even notice when they do good things. I don't know if you're familiar with the 1 minute manager, which has been around for a long time. I think it's the 1 minute managers basically catch your team doing good things, and observe it and let them know that you're sincere. Just you've got to demonstrate your commitment and how, and that is, it's you want them to succeed. That's your main outcome. Next one is just doing the roadblock support. So you often find, oh yeah, I couldn't do that because it was the school holidays and I had heaps of kids in, or my clients cancelled that week because of blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So just take away the excuses and ask what support and resources that they need from you to help them succeed. As a leader or manager or the people leader, you need to be providing the resources and clear the obstacles so that important tasks get done. So that's is your job. But you also need to let them get on with it and not get them too overwhelmed with too many demands or conflicting priorities. So yeah, I think just being really clear about that. So what we always did, if we were going to focus on a goals, I would generally only have one goal, and we'd look at it. So it would be a 90-day goal because it takes time to get things. No more than 3 goals ever, and hopefully that they're tied into what they want to achieve. Otherwise, they get too confused.
Yes.
And even with the salon performance indicators, the KPIs, the performance indicators, I used to have about 7, and I took them down to about 4, and they're all linked to behaviours. So the number of clients, the average dollar per client, all linked into their behaviours. So that's number 1. That's the 4th one. So just the action items. So then you have to agree on what you need to do doing. So if your goal was to increase your pre-booking rate, for example, so what is it now and what do you want it to be done and how often? What timeline, sorry. Are you, is there people familiar with SMART goals? Specific, they're going to be specific, measurable, manageable, achievable, realistic, and time bound, so they need a time frame. So that's a SMART goal. Something over that, but you need to sort of link it to those things. So you need to be asking them what tangible action that they will take this week and ongoing to move that goal forward, and then address it. What are the excuses? How can we get around them? Getting them to address them is really good, rather than them being helpless. Go, well, I suppose I could do blah blah blah. And this is when you have to kind of zip it and let them actually solve the problem, rather than you go jump in and fix it for them, which is, I have to say, is a big problem for me. And so at that point, hopefully they've got a couple of action items that you've jotted down or they've got down. Actually, just pause for a minute here. We use Trello boards to sort of to keep it on track. So you can share that online. You can see it in real time if they've done it or not. You can check in with them online to see if they've done it. I found that really good, and I do it with some coaching clients as well. That we do planning and strategy planning and stuff like that on Trello boards. So I don't know if anyone else has got any. I'm sure there's other ones out there that are good too. So it would be good to know about that.
But I agree. Having like an online tool that you can both access kind of anytime on your phone, it's great tool to keep track of it all.
And then I would be, after that, you've agreed on, say, one goal or one thing that they want to move forward on. Then agree with them what will be done. Get them to help design the action, so it's not just you. And then I would be asking, what's up? How's everything going? What else do you need? Is there anything at the top of your head that you feel like you need to discuss? And I think it's just are there any minor grievances that are bugging them? I've done this I've had absolute super stylists that I've just thought didn't need any help at all. And when you have the one-on-one, suddenly it comes out that, their sister's sick or their dad's in hospital, or they haven't had time to even tell you because you're in the back room. And it's nice to know those things. It's nice to know if they're a little bit off and not try and second guess them, or just check in with them. We so sort of I sort of have noticed that when I walk in the back room, sometimes there might be 5 stylists in there and they're all on their phone. None of them are talking to each other. So it's a connection thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the more that you ask them those types of questions, the more they'll open up, and then you kind of build that rapport, and you kind of won't necessarily have to ask what's up. It will just kind of naturally come out, which, is what you really want and need, because you do need to understand how they're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as a hairstylist, we build that naturally with our clients. That's what makes us successful. But we don't do it so naturally with our team members.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, we've all got really good skills in that area.
Yeah.
So we just need to sort of switch it over. And I think I had a friend of mine that said that when she stepped off the floor to manage her team, she just switched it over. So I was looking after my clients like this, and now I look after my team like that. And I thought, and it really stuck in my head. I thought, that's exactly what it is. Why would you be the busiest person in the salon and everyone's sitting out in the back room and you've got your head down going, resenting them? Take the time out to manage your team. It's really valuable time. And things changed for me when I did that, when I made that shift. So that's just take a sincere interest in them. Actually really care about, what's happening with their lives outside of work. And I'd always finish on a high note. What is the good news? Find something they're doing well and acknowledge it. And I think it's like your kids too. Don't just say, "Oh, that was so amazing today." Just be real about it. Hey, I really loved how you took care of that client the other day, and you went the extra mile, and you did, I know that you worked a little bit through your lunch break to fit her in, and I think that's awesome that you do that. Well, that's and I think it's I mean, if you catch someone doing good all the time, just say it there and then. But
Yes.
But I think it's really good. Don't wait. But the purpose of the meeting is to improve their performance. So the last step is actually really essential, and that's the follow-up. And that's something that that I probably don't do as I tend to sort of shake it off, go, and that's where I think it's really important to have something like a Trello board or something, because if you're doing, I don't know, say you're doing 4 one-on-ones in a day, or that's quite a big chunk of your day. It's hard to remember what you started off in the first one. Even writing some notes down, going back and writing, if I do a coaching client, I always go back and spend another at least 30 minutes writing my coaching notes out. So I've got a reference point. So do that with your team as well. And I think you need to you're running a business. Even though you love your team and you've got to show them that you love them, you still have to hold them firmly accountable for their behaviour. So I think it's really crucial that if you want to create a high performance culture, that you don't micromanage. Give the person the freedom and the autonomy to determine how best they can achieve their goals or results, but just make sure that you follow up and make sure it gets implemented consistently. And I think a really good place to do that is at your daily huddle. That's a whole nother meeting.
I know we've spoken about lots of different meetings this session, but and you do have meetings. You have team meetings, which is something else, and you have one-on-one meetings, and you have the daily huddle. And it does sound like a lot, but especially when in an office, I've got a coaching client who works in a building firm, and when I walk through his office, everyone's sitting there with 2 computer screens and they've got headphones on their heads, and I think, wow, we're amongst it all the time. We're amongst people, but often you don't even know about something that's happened in your salon until you actually overhear them telling a client about it. And it's like, oh, that was a bit, I should have known that. So we're not really connecting when we're on the salon floor. I know we think we are, but I think definitely it's really good to have those one-on-ones. Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of kind of all the different types of meetings, it's like this, like you explained the importance, particularly of one-to-one meetings, but then it's about understanding the importance of other types of meetings, but how they all fit together and work together, and not that it's just meetings for the sake of meetings. Like perhaps in your business, a daily huddle doesn't make sense. Maybe it's a 2-day, don't know, bi-daily huddle or whatever it is, but it's about, I guess, defining why you need those meetings and why they are important to you, and then trying to effectively run them and really define what is to be covered in them rather than them all being the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
That is 100% right. Yeah, and I think, sometimes I used to do the 15-minute weekly ones, and I still, I was still doing that, especially if someone new started and they need to. I mean, you're building a culture. You can't really expect someone to perform at their best if they're actually trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
You have to have those check-ins with them, and it's not about telling them what they're doing wrong. It's about going, hey, what support do you need to do it like we're doing it? Because if someone joins your team, they're going to bring their own culture. They're going to bring the culture that they had from the last salon that they worked in, or so you need to build a strong culture in your business, and that's how you do it. It's micro behaviors that build that culture.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights about how to hold effective one-to-one meetings today. I really, really appreciate it. It was awesome.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Thank you. This feels like a lot of information to sort of get through at one go, but like I say, if anyone wants any help, I love doing that. I'm really happy to help. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And we do share the recording after each session, so you can obviously go back and rewatch it and kind of pause it and make notes and then
Yeah.
again. And also I will grab all of your contact details off you, and we'll put them in the comments on the sessions, that you guys can get in touch with Diana if you did want to have access to her template for one-to-one meetings. And Diana, thank you so much again for your time, and hope to have you back soon for another session. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much. It's great being part of it. Okay, thanks.
Cool, thank you. And thank you to everyone for watching. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you on our next Facebook Live. See you, everyone.
Bye.